So what does it really take to build a school system that's ready for the future? We're about to dive into the 10-year journey of one educational trust that didn't just react to technology. They absolutely mastered it. This is the story of how a long-term vision created a seriously resilient, future-ready institution.
I mean, it's the question on every school leader's mind, right? Especially these days. The story of the Success for All Educational Trust, or SFAET, gives us a powerful roadmap. It shows how smart, strategic planning can get you ready for pretty much anything, even the totally unexpected.
And this quote, this gets right to the heart of their whole philosophy. Scott Carrington, the deputy head teacher, nails it. Their goal was never just about buying shiny new gadgets. No, it was about fundamentally changing how they teach and learn, using tech to just get rid of the barriers.
All right, so here's how their amazing journey breaks down. We're going to look at their initial vision, how they built that solid foundation, the huge tests they faced, how they turned big problems into even bigger opportunities, and finally, what they're doing right now with AI in the classroom.
Okay, let's jump in the time machine and rewind the clock more than a decade to where this whole thing started. Like a lot of schools back then, SFAET was at a real crossroads.
They were basically stuck with this old, clunky tech setup. It was a total barrier to the kind of flexible, collaborative learning they wanted to create. The leadership knew that just buying new computers wasn't going to cut it. They needed a whole new mindset.
And that new way of thinking really came to life through a key partnership. You had Redden Court School, which started the trust, and the tech experts at XMA. This team up, it became the engine for the next 10 years of incredible innovation.
So they had the vision, they had the partner, but how did they actually build this new digital world? Well, they didn't just throw a bunch of tech at their teachers and hope for the best. Nope, they had a really smart, methodical plan.
Now, this is where their strategy gets really practical and, honestly, kind of genius. They used this three-stage model. First, start small. They just introduced Google Workspace to staff on the computers they already had. Easy. Step 2, expand usage. They brought in Chromebooks and created digital champions, staff and students to help everyone else out. Finally, influence change. Once everyone was comfortable, Google Classroom just naturally became a core part of their teaching.
And that, right there, shows the huge mental shift that happened. Technology wasn't some special tool you pulled out once in a while. It was woven into the very fabric of everything they did, teaching, planning, learning, every single day.
And the results? They were just incredible. The trust was saving over £20,000 a year. But way more important than that, their student progress shot up into the top 5% in the entire country. This just proves it. This wasn't just a tech project. It was a massive academic success.
Okay, so everything's going great. They've built this amazing foundation, and then, bam! A sudden extreme test arrives, something nobody could have possibly seen coming.
Yeah, 2020 happened. The world changed overnight. While schools everywhere were scrambling to figure out remote learning, SFAET was in a completely different boat. They were, to put it simply, ready.
Think about it. Their students already had their own Chromebooks. Their teachers were already pros at using Google Classroom. The transition was seamless. Their whole Access Anywhere philosophy meant that learning didn't stop, it just moved from the classroom to the living room. They were so successful, in fact, that the Department for Education actually chose them to be a model school to train other schools across the country. How amazing is that?
You'd think, after proving their resilience like that, they might take a break, right? Nope, they kept innovating. Their next challenge was a common one, but their solution was anything but.
So they hit a problem a lot of organizations face, a whole bunch of Windows devices that couldn't be upgraded to Windows 11. For most, that means a huge, expensive replacement project. But SFAET and XMA, they saw an opportunity. They used this thing called Chrome OS Flex, an operating system that basically breathes new life into old hardware, and converted all those old devices into fast, secure machines.
And what was the financial impact of that one smart move? A whopping £40,000 in saved costs. That is a huge win for any school budget. And don't just take my word for it. The Trust CFO, Sarah King, said they turned what would have been lost money into a direct, positive impact on their budget. It's just a perfect example of how the right tech strategy delivers real, measurable cash value.
All right, so that brings us right up to today, where SFAET is, you guessed it, once again on the cutting edge, this time tackling the next big frontier in education.
The new challenge, of course, is AI.
Everybody's talking about it, but SFEIT is moving past the talk. They're focused on how to bring it into the classroom safely and effectively in a way that actually helps teachers and students.
Working with XMA, they're rolling out Google's new AI tools. For teachers, this means using the AI model Gemini to instantly create lesson plans and quizzes, saving them tons of prep time. For the admin and IT folks, it can summarize meetings and build better help guides. And, this is huge, the built-in security automatically blocks threats and helps make sure they're GDPR compliant, which is a major worry for any school.
And from an IT perspective, this is a total game changer. The head of data and IT, Jamie Adams, points out that zero-touch deployment, which lets them set up devices automatically, saves his team hundreds of hours. Plus, the security dashboard gives them all the control they need to stop threats before they even become a problem.
And so, this whole incredible decade-long story comes full circle, right back to that one core theme, partnership. This was never about just buying stuff. It was a deep, strategic collaboration between SFAE and XMA, all built on a shared goal of getting real, measurable results for everyone involved.
SFAET's story is just such a powerful example of what long-term vision and true partnership can do. It proves that being future-ready isn't about having a crystal ball. It's about building a foundation so strong that you can handle anything that comes your way. So the real question isn't just what your next decade will look like, it's what are you doing today to make sure you're ready for it.